What's up, wrestling fans? It is time for another edition of 5150 Real Talk with Konnan, exclusively here at WrestleZone.com. I'm, as always, your host, Chris Cash, and unfortunately we didn't get to do this last week, but we are going to make up for lost time, I promise you, with a very good edition here tonight of 5150. Let me introduce you. You know him very, very well. He's the star of the show, Konnan. Konnan, what's up, man?
Yo, what am up? I'm here in Cali smoking some of that Lala and just chilling in the cut.
Very cool. And I know you wanted to jumpstart things with our favorite personality here on the site in Glenn Gilberti.
I wanted to address a couple things. Number one is I want you to that in both debates that we had, according to the people, I destroyed them in both polls. Am I correct or not?
According to the polls, yes, you are correct.
All right. And so, because Disco's spouting off that he won both debates, and the people have spoken, and again, I was right on both accounts. The other thing I wanted to bring up, I was reading his column this week, and I like how at the end he says, and I'm going to actually read it, because if I take anything out of sequence, he'll start crying. It says here, I was expecting Chris, the self-professed authority, which you have told me he's not referring to you, right?
No,
Schultz.
Chris Schultz.
Chris Schultz. And Kevin, Kelly, and Konnan to submit their versions, but I guess they'd rather just continue to show the world they're all show and no go. Well, all you have to do, Glenn, is go back to any of the TVs from AAA from 93 to 97, which I consider our golden years, and just watch our TV. That's my work right there for anybody to criticize. Also, as we all know, When Worlds Collide, which is universally considered one of the best pay-per-views of all time, that was booked between me and Antonio Pena. And not only that, all you have to do is go to Galavision, which is in basically every city in the United States. Turn it on Saturdays and Sunday at 3 p.m. and 3 a.m., and there's my work again. So I don't have to be submitting shit to your thing over here. And you know, here's another thing. He always says he was a great booker, but how funny is it that, you know, he was an assistant booker / gopher during the period when WCW went out of business. But I'm sure, you know, that was standards and practices, that was AOL, that was everybody except him. Right. You know, a lot of the shit that they were doing back then was garnering, you know, big ratings or big pay-per-view buys.
Right.
And another thing I was reading here where he goes, you know, he's basically saying, where is it? It says the main thing this challenge did was show that even though everyone thinks they know what to do with TNA, nobody knows how to do it. Well, bro, I'm pretty sure that if you would have taken Jeff or Dutch or Vince, your idol, any of those guys, and they'd never been in the wrestling business, and they were just some computer geek like most of the guys that wrote this shit, they wouldn't know how to format a show either. You know, I mean, formatting has nothing to do with intelligence. I'm going to say this one more time. I think the show is written for kids and morons, and if you defend the show, you're one of the two. There's just one of the stupidest things I've ever seen, and you can look at all my body of work. I've never done anything as ridiculous, and this to me was ridiculous. I don't know if you saw this, Chris. Did you see the one where they had that mousetrap on a pole match?
Oh, yeah. Kaz and Black Rain.
Yeah, that sounds like something Vince did, even though I'm being told it was Dutch. They should just have Disco sitting on a pole, but he'd probably enjoy it too much. Basically, the thing is that they have this, for those of you that didn't see it and for those of you that did see it, they have these boxes on top of a pole, and you're supposed to open up the box, and then there's supposed to be a rat in a little cage. But yet they opened up 3 boxes before they got to the rat in the cage. Every time they opened up a box, there was a mousetrap in there. Why didn't they just close the box until they found the box with the rat in it? No, they opened it up and then put their hand in there, got snapped by the mousetrap. I mean, it was so fucking
right, I think the idea was that the little mailbox was apparently too high, I guess, for them to be able to see inside. So they had to stick their hand in there to find out if the mousetrap was there.
Really? How did you deduce that?
Well, just because I would imagine that had to be the logic behind it. Now, on top of that, the actual contraption that the mouse was in was probably, I would imagine, about 5 inches tall. Now, mouse traps are not even an inch high off the damn ground or table or whatever platform you have it on. So I would imagine, as opposed to sticking your hand in a mailbox, I would probably reach to the top. Any logical, smart, intelligent person, if there's a risk of getting your hand or finger stuck in a mousetrap, would probably just reach to the top of the mailbox and make sure they can see. They could feel ahead of time whether there was a damn mousetrap or whether there was a big ass box in there. But right. That's what they're insulting the fans, in my opinion, by making some sort of stipulation like that.
Yeah, get on your tippy toes and look, or have a stick in your hand or something, bro. But they just look like idiots. Plus, the match itself was fucking ridiculous.
Yeah, it was bad.
How could you even invite, imagine inviting 10 friends that don't watch wrestling and sitting down and watching that match. They'd fucking think you're a moron. But, it was just stupid. Like, remember when they used to have in WCW a piñata and a pole, and then I think there was like an unemployment check in there. All those pole matches suck. But anyways, the main thing that he was saying is that, nobody knows how to write a good show. Well, of course these guys don't know how to write a good show because they don't know how to format it. And then some other guy, he was like, oh, it was pretty good, but I wanted you to write out the promos. And, for everything he had an excuse. He put this up there because he wants to show to everybody that complains about TNA's booking how hard it really is. It really isn't that fucking hard. If you get a couple guys around the table that really love wrestling, you can come up with a good show. Formatting has nothing to do with it.
Yep.
But the problem is, like I said before, Chris, is that, first they got to do something with the stars that they're paying money to. Then the guys that they like. You know what I'm saying? And that's how the shows run. They're not, they're not really looking at what the people want. It's like, who do they like? Who doesn't have heat? Like, for example, Shelley and Sabin now are in the doghouse because they didn't want to blade, because they had done some funny promo with the Dudleys, and then right after that, the Dudleys attacked them, and they didn't want to go from comedy to like blood, and so now they're in the doghouse. How is that good for business? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And that's the problem with wrestling, that wrestling right now isn't before. There were a lot of places you could go, territories, more companies were open, and you could go to another place, but it isn't like the music industry. If you're not happy at Universal, you can go to Emmy. If you're not happy with Emmy, you could go to Clive Davis J Records, or you can go to Def Jam, or you can go, same thing in baseball. If you're not happy with the Yankees, you go to the Red Sox or the San Diego Padres. In wrestling, it's very limited. There's TNA, there's WWE, there's Mexico, which most people can't stand, and there's Japan, which isn't year-round. You go there for 2-week tours or whatever the tours are now. There's or the Indies, which is very hard to make money at right now. So, it's really, you almost have to do what you're told nowadays. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And so that's one of the big problems. But anyways, like I said, I can't believe that you have so many hours to get a show ready and that TNA keeps giving us the bullshit that they're giving us. And this has nothing to do about my personal feelings because I left the company or because I don't like Jeff, because I get all these emails, oh, you must be bitter. So anytime a wrestler leaves WWE or TNA and tells you about the, the hard road schedule, like RVD's been doing, or like Sabu says, or, Lita, you don't see her working anymore because she's burnt out. She didn't even want to work for us in AAA. She just said, I'd rather go up there and, do some songs with my band. And I was like, all right, cool. And so anytime that, you complain, you're bitter. But so let me get it. Let me see if I got this right. So if somebody's working somewhere, wherever it is, a hospital, gas station, etc., and they're not treated right, they're underpaid, they're lied to, a lot of the shit that you hear the wrestlers telling you, now all of a sudden you're bitter. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Give me a fucking break. That's bullshit. So that's just something that I wanted to answer, because I get that a lot. Oh, you must be bitter. You must be bitter. No, I'm not fucking bitter, bro. I'm just telling you how it is. If you want to take, well, how can you say Jeff Jarrett was a racist? That's not so. Well, were you there? Do you know Jeff Jarrett? Do you hang out with him? Have you ever talked with him? You don't fucking know. Shut the fuck up. I just wanted to get those things off my mind real quick.
Let me ask, though, this, Konnan, going back to, the stuff that TNA's feeding us, and at times WWE does it as well. But when you've gotten yourself into this situation, now TNA obviously apparently doesn't think that they are in a situation. I mean, Glenn hypes the ratings, So apparently he thinks everything's going well. But, you know, for an intelligent person, not even an intelligent fan, just an intelligent person watching that product, we think it's very cheesy, very gimmicky, very, you know, just kind of stupid. You know, I mean, just kind of written for less intelligent or for kids. How hard is it for you to get yourself out of that hole if you're writing a show like Impact?
Well, I think the problem is that, you know, guys like Dutch and guys like Jeff, you know, to me, I said this in the first 5150, the business has passed them by. They don't have their pulse on pop culture. They don't watch, you know, the most popular shows, because I've asked both of them what shows they watch, you know. And so they don't really know what's going on. They don't listen to, you know, what's hot.